this tough talk against Iran, is he doing it for negotiating purposes, or is he doing it in the run-up to actually be a part of this attack? If he doesn't do it, does he develop this reputation for being all bark and no bite? We know that he's very sensitive to sort of simplistic narratives like that. So I'm almost fearful of bringing up the simplistic narrative, because no one wants to see a decision made by a president simply because he fears a narrative that will develop if he doesn't go a certain way. But look, I'm very hesitant to predict too much here because it's Donald Trump, number one. Number two, I do think there are enough people who are at least warning him that, hey, this stuff is it's never as easy as you think. I almost think that too many people, I think about when I grew up, I remember watching Ronald Reagan address the nation after warplanes went to Libya. And it was a pretty clean strike. And we did the Grenada thing. And it seemed pretty easy, right? And even the first Iraq war. And I do think there was a sort of a generation of national security folks who thought, hey, these little surgical strikes can work, that sort of a police force type military can work. That all worked until it didn't with Iraq, right? That all worked until it didn't with Afghanistan. Iran is not Grenada. Iran is not Libya. And there's every chance this is a bigger can of worms if we engage. But of course, leaving Israel on its own could also create problems here. So look, there's no easy answers. I don't think we know the backstory fully. How much did Netanyahu jam Trump here? Or was Trump really going along the whole time with maximum pressure and playing good cop, bad cop with Bibi? But it does feel as if Trump's he is backed into a corner here. Israel has had initial success. There's a window of opportunity. If you do believe it's doable, there is a window of opportunity. And there's risk of him not taking advantage of this window of opportunity. And there's risk if they go about it the wrong way. And there's risk even if they succeed. So look, this is not an easy decision. Presidential decisions, no matter who's behind that desk, if they were easy, they wouldn't. I remember hearing this from plenty of previous presidents. If the decisions were easy, they would have been decided upon before they got to the president's desk. You do get a sense that everybody around him is sort of has their own opinion, but is afraid of owning it. And so they're all just sort of whispering in his ear. And he does, in this case, have a team of rivals articulating different positions. So however you view President Trump and his leadership style here, I think is atrocious. It should make you feel better that there are at least diverse voices in that room, in the Situation Room, so that all possibilities are being laid out for him. In that sense, right, that is much better than having groupthink. So look, I can't believe this is how we're all waiting for the tweet that either announces or pulls back, which is kind of ridiculous. This is no way to run a globe. This is no way the leader of the free world should behave. But I'm trying to find a few green shoots here. And the tallest green shoot is the fact that at least there's a diversity of voices in that room articulating different ways to go about this problem. So we shall see. As the president might tweet himself, stay tuned. But it's sometimes you can't believe, I can't tell you how many times jokes were cracked, before he actually became president. Boy, he'll make war decisions on a tweet and he'll do this. And it all is actually happening. And it's become weirdly normalized that we all now kind of expect, and we're waiting here. And sadly, I think Donald Trump loves this nothing more than anything. We're all have no choice but to wait to see what the former host of The Apprentice is going to decide, who gets voted off, who doesn't. And in that sense, that's kind of an absurd way that America is representing itself around the world. But elections have consequences, and here we are. We've entered what I'd call an Orwellian moment. And easily, I think the last week was the most Orwellian week we've lived in the Trump era. Because you go online and you don't know which images are real. You can't trust what you see, what you read, or even what you think you know in Los Angeles. Manipulated videos, AI-generated photos, they spread confusion, and they did so faster than any fact check could catch up. I mean, I had to use my own network of people in LA that I trust to really understand what was going on. You could not trust what you saw online. And that is a scary moment. And we know there are professional propagandists out there. Some of them are domestic who just are trying for clicks. Some are funded by foreign adversaries like Russia, China, and North Korea. And they flood the zone with all of this junk. And the goal isn't persuasion, it's paralysis. If they can make everything feel a bit unknowable, then nothing can be acted upon, can it? And when the public no longer trusts what it sees, when truth itself feels up for grabs, that's when democratic systems start to wobble. We're watching that unfold right now. The chaos in LA this week felt like a test run for that uncertainty. And it's not just, by the way, I mean, listen to the garbage rhetoric that Kristi Noem used. She was talking about liberating Los Angeles from some socialists. What the fork is she talking about? And can you imagine if Ali Mayorkas said something about liberating a Texas town from its racist tendencies or something like that? This is insane rhetoric being used by a cabinet official, and not just any cabinet official, a very important one. All right, I would, no offense to Labor HUD, but DHS is one of the big five after Treasury, State, Pentagon, and Attorney General. And to have that kind of sloppy rhetoric, ridiculous rhetoric, and it was a sentence that was said right before her security detail tackled Senator Alex Padilla. Anyway, look, it's not just a domestic problem, by the way, this issue of this Orwellian moment we're living in. We have the same cloud of ambiguity over our role in the Israel-Iran conflict. As I told you before, did we help? Did we know? Are we responsible? Nobody seems to know for sure. And that ambiguity, again, it may help short term for us politically, but long term, no one knows what's going on. This used to be the kind of uncertainty you'd only expect in the Middle East, or you might expect in Moscow or Beijing, authoritarian places. But now it's here. It's in Los Angeles. It's in Washington. It's in your Twitter or TikTok feed. And when the public's instinct is to say, I don't know what to believe, that is when you know the democracy itself is extraordinarily vulnerable. I don't know what to believe is a phrase you hear all the time in Russia. All the time. So no, this wasn't the uplifting feel-good Father's Day postscript I was hoping for. But here we are. The world is unstable. Our country is unsettled. And the one person who may be able to calm things down is also the one person who's helped stoke this fire. I think he might try to douse the flames abroad. I fear he has no interest in doing it here at home.